Welcome to the Shelter of the Storm event. Our goal this evening is to inspire you and tell you more about the important work and life-saving work that takes place at Volunteers of America. My name is David Spillers. I'm the owner of Digiprint, and I'm honored to be a friend and advocate. Thank you. Oh, well, that's very kind. Thank you. I'm honored to be a friend and advocate for Volunteers of America for more than 10 years. I've come to deeply respect the Volunteers of America staff and board members for their passion and their commitment. They don't just house the homeless so they're out of sight. Each person they meet is treated with dignity. Every child, man and woman, is surrounded with the belief that they will achieve more than anyone else thought possible. Whether you are one of our ambassadors, a returning guest, a multi-year Shelter from the Storm Society member, or a donor at another level, or new to Volunteers of America, I'm very grateful that you're here with us. It's my first time having the pleasure of speaking at this event, and if you are familiar with Volunteers of America, you would probably agree with me when I say their doors are open to all. The beauty behind what they do is their acceptance and ability to not turn anyone away. There's a place for all who feel forgotten and are experiencing the most difficult times in their lives. I know many of you in this room tonight, and I think I can speak for many when I say that you are all here because you care and you want to understand. You want to support your neighbors in need and help them reach their full potential, and I'm proud to be part of such a caring community. At this time, I would like to thank and highlight our sponsors as seen on the screen. Their generosity covered the costs so that the funds raised tonight go towards life-changing work. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors. Also, please join me as we welcome all the elected officials that are here with us this evening. Please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. City of Sparks Council Member Paul Anderson. Washoe County Commissioner Michael Clark. And Washoe County Commissioner Alexis Hill. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have also received a certificate of commendation from Senator Cortez Masto's office, along with a donation of a flag from Representative Amadei's office that was previously flown over the United States Capitol. A warm thank you to each and every one of you for being here and willing to hear the stories of those working their way out of homelessness. Tonight you will hear stories of transformation, and I know that you will leave here filled with hope for our community. Next, I would like to introduce Jean Savoy, Bishop of the International Community of Christ, who will get us started with a short prayer. Thank you.
Good evening. I am not going to ask you to stand. If you feel the urge, you may hold the hand of the person next to you, and let us pray. Heavenly Father, invest us with your power and make us instruments of your will as we prepare to do your work today and always. Help us not just with words, but with deeds, and give us the strength to do what is right. Turn any doubts into an energy for exemplifying your goodness, truth, and love, and may our spirits be filled with your holy word. Bless all of us who have gathered here today in fellowship and peace. Bless all peoples and all nations everywhere, and alleviate the suffering of those in need by means of your divine light. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, David, for getting us started this morning. You've been such a dear friend to Volunteers America. Thank you. And Jean, for the blessing and all the light and hope that you share with all of us. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure to meet, I hope to be able to do that soon. My name is Christy Holdereger. I'm the President and CEO of VOA here in Northern California and Northern Nevada. And although I'm new to this role, I'm not new to Volunteers of America. I've been with the organization for the past 31 years. And as I reflect on those past years, and yes, I did grow up here at Volunteers of America, I'm inspired by the dedicated staff, the resiliency of our clients, the generosity of our donors. You all are making miracles happen every single day. For those of you that are new to VOA, we are 125 staff members here in Northern Nevada, and with the support of collaborative partnerships with the local government, foundation, individual donors, you all are impacting those that we serve, and you amplify that impact every day. We provide shelter, housing, and supportive services to 1,100 people every single night in this region. Tonight, you'll get an opportunity to learn more about us, but we're going to talk about the importance of love, community, and purpose. These are the things that we all need here in this room. In fact, if we could all just take one moment and think about who loves you, and then think about what makes up your community. Is it your family, friends, colleagues, or maybe all three of those? And then think about what is your purpose, what motivates you. Most of us in this room can easily answer those questions, but that isn't the case for those that are experiencing homelessness. Just like all of us here, individuals living outdoors need to feel love, purpose, and they need to feel a part of the community, and that's what we try to do every day throughout all of our programs. So today, almost 6 months into my journey as CEO, I feel even more hopeful that we are all moving in the right direction. The city of Reno, the city of Sparks, Washoe County, our healthcare partners, business community, local foundations, and donors are all coming to the table and are committed to work together to lead more of our neighbors out of homelessness and prevent others from falling into it. Please let's give them a round of applause. You know, you all are my community. I depend on you, and I hope you know that you can depend on me. Every day, someone escapes an unsafe living situation and finds the strength they need to rebuild their life and fill it with love, a sense of community, and purpose. How can we move more people in that direction? Well, it begins with us. So what can your single action be that will cause a ripple effect for the benefit of others? I like to share what mine has been. It has been looking someone in the eye, truly seeing them as a gift from God, telling them that they are worthy and they deserve a life filled with hope, that they matter. And that's what everyone at VOA does, and that's what you all are doing tonight for being here. So thank you. Some of you have had the opportunity to visit the CARES campus and share your love and care with those that we serve there. You looked someone in the eye and you showed them that they matter. And for this, I thank you. If you haven't heard, today, May 17th, is the 2-year anniversary of the CARES campus. This program is the result of the entire community coming together to address a crisis. And we're proud to partner with Washoe County to stabilize, address barriers, and prepare our friends to get back on their feet. And this is our region's first low-barrier shelter that welcomes in our unhoused neighbors as they are. I think you would agree that it is critical to open our doors to all, especially those that have experienced so much trauma in their life. As a ministry of service, we are called to love people unconditionally and advocate for those who suffer. Like the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13 says, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for your friends." We learn something similar in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 17. Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow. That is what we aim to do in all of our programs, to defend those that are oppressed and often overlooked. And yes, we have rules. We have lots of rules. But they're geared to keep everyone safe and engaged in services that move them in the right direction of independence. Again, it starts with love, building that community, and giving them a purpose. So the CARES Campus has been a great resource. People like Teresa, and I had the pleasure of meeting Teresa just a few weeks ago. She was preparing very excitedly to move into the VOA's Senior Manor, which is our housing community here in Reno that provides housing for low-income seniors. At the age of 68, Teresa was priced out of the rental market. She was sleeping in her car, suffered a stroke, and was in a coma for 2 months. She wasn't expected to live, and her children had already came to say goodbye to her. But God had other plans for her. Today, she is living in a one-bedroom apartment surrounded by a community that cares for her. Her purpose is to give back, paying it forward for the next person who needs help. Again, this all starts with looking someone in the eye and believing in their potential. Your support gives us the opportunity to serve everyone that arrives on our doorsteps without judgment and with a lot of love. We are in the love business, if you haven't figured that out yet. Like our friends going through Reno Works, this wonderful program, operated in partnership with the City of Reno and VOA, gives people a hand up who have experienced homelessness. So during our 12-week program, participants in the community clean up parks, paint public buildings, and show up every day ready to work and learn. The goal is to empower them to improve their job skills, build a resume, gain self-confidence, and prepare for long-term employment that's going to sustain them independently. I'm thrilled to share that our 8 participants, who are going to be graduating in the next couple of weeks, are well on their way to independence. 4 of our participants, and 1 is still pending, have already received full-time employment at Tesla Gigafactory. Pretty cool. And the other participants are also securing and have already secured employment in the community. We're very proud of them and all of the partners and sponsors that support that program. One of our participants, Edwin, has already moved from the CARES campus into his own apartment, and he's prepared to be the best employee Tesla has ever hired. So I think Tesla is here somewhere in the room, so remember Edwin, he's promised to be the best employee ever. As I mentioned last year, VOA was in a contract to purchase Highway 40 Motel. But we were short $450,000 to close that deal. Well, between the City of Reno and some very generous donors, some of them that are here with us tonight, we were able to secure the resources to close that deal. Yeah. Everything takes time, so thank you for your patience. In the next couple months, we will begin the renovation of converting this motel into dignified housing and will provide trauma-informed care for one of our community's most vulnerable populations, those who suffer from mental illness, have been chronically homeless, and may have also been a veteran or are a senior in our community. So, what does it take to make this life-changing programs happen? This year, VOA had a budgeted funding gap of $600,000, and that amount represents the expenses and enhancements to programs that are not covered by our government programming and funding. So for example, during the extended storm season that you all experienced, our village at Sage Street, which is our workforce housing program, experienced extensive flooding, caved-in roofs, damage, and these costs added up to over $75,000 that was not budgeted this year. And we were able to keep all of those lodgers safe, warm, and dry because of your generosity. So other basic needs such as food, warm clothing, blankets, rental assistance, the employment program and skills at Reno Works, those are all some of those unbudgeted expenses that you make happen and really enhance the experience that our clients go through, have. So that small act of kindness can bring someone living in our shelter out of depression and fill them with hope. So that's what you do every day. The good news is we have significantly reduced the gap. We have $275,000 left to raise by the end of June, which is the end of our fiscal year. Closing the gap will mean more individuals reaching their full potential and paying it forward like the amazing speakers you're going to be hearing from shortly. I can't say enough how much your presence means to every one of us at VOA. You are the reason we're able to say yes to everybody that comes to our door. At this time, I want to direct your attention to the screen for a video presentation of a program that was a labor of love, a true example of community coming together to bring forth a new approach and help those living paycheck to paycheck. Thank you again.
It's the fourth quarter of my life, and I had to get things square with my kids, my two kids. And I'd moved up here from Southern California, and when I got to Reno, after a couple months, I was stranded. Basically, my whole thing was just getting access to a phone. So I called my son and let him know where I was at, what I was doing, what was going on, even though I didn't know what was going on. Godsend was literally pointed to the VOA on Record Street. And that's when I met Ted. A, he let me use his phone. B, he put me in the system. I was pointed down to the tent, which is now the CARES campus, but it was a bed, and it wasn't a sidewalk.
We had a large population of individuals coming into the shelter facing first-time homelessness because they didn't have anywhere else to go, because the rents were so high, because there was no vacancies.
So everybody that worked at the tent worked for the VOA, okay? And what I found was this care.
The employees at Volunteers of America are passionate and empathetic and are there to stand by the people in their journey, no matter where they are. I mean, it's phenomenal to see how much they're willing to give to make sure other people have a better quality of life.
Once I was able to connect with my son, then the next step was to see what I could do if I could be in line for Sage.
The village is intended for individuals to be able to work on and succeed in their personal and professional goals. That goal could be finishing school, it could be saving for a car, or even saving for a home. The individuals who live at the village are your casino workers, your baristas, your warehouse workers, they're your taxi drivers.
What I used to say to people once I knew I was going to get into Sage was, man, I get a lock on my door.
If the village didn't exist, there would be so many more people living on the train tracks, sleeping in their cars, failing out of motels, and having nowhere to go. There's a cost to the community for everybody who's out there, who's on the streets and utilizing homeless services and the emergency services. So by supporting Volunteers of America, we can support individuals and give them the skills to not depend on those resources.
I just know the community is a lot better with VOA. I also know that if I need it, it'll be provided.
Some of the community resources we offer include a meeting room, lounges, fitness room, mail room, computer room, laundry facility, dining and store, as well as outdoor seating space.
I just felt like I was at home. I felt like I was in a comfortable cocoon. And I've been treated with nothing but respect. Both LaDonna and Devin have my back. She takes pride in her job.
Our staff knows the backstory of every person who lives here. and that's 216 individuals.
They extend the kindness. That's part of their whole vibe. I mean, it's VOA's vibe. It takes special people to be like that.
We offer homeless services and housing services, and ultimately our goal is to get everybody so they can live independently with the blueprints and tools to do so. We try to bring resources on site so individuals can utilize them at the comfort and convenience of having it so close to them. So some of those classes have included financial classes, housing readiness classes, AA, NA, Bible studies, community dinners by different community partners, and other supportive community service tabling events.
I don't know what my alternative would have been had it not been for the VOA. I mean, I was stuck. By the grace of God, VOA, came charging into the picture, man. My life changed because of VOA. Hello there. Man, I'm uglier. I'm uglier on this, and I was on that picture, and oh my goodness, it's a bitch getting old. I'm grateful to stand before you tonight, and I'm grateful for all of you listening to Christy. That there's obviously there's a lot of you here that have helped the VOA, and I hope that continues. Because I swear to God, man, and I said in the video, I was out there, and I didn't. It's in my speech. I promised Devin, and I promised everyone else that I would stick to script. Nick, I'm not even gonna look at you, because stick to script. Okay, I can't. I knew it was going to be an issue. I told them right from the get that it was going to be an issue. And you know what? I wrote this. So go figure. But honestly, I meant, so much of what was in the video was stuff is in the speech. And, the whole thing about VOA was I really didn't know anything. I mean, I remember a VOA commercial years ago, like during a football game, they had a commercial. And, but VOA then, it was like, it was a flash. But I didn't know anything about VOA. I didn't know really what it stood for. VOA, I thought Veterans of America. I didn't know, and I'm not a veteran, so, I didn't know. And I ended up, when I was like last legs, literally, where I was staying on Virginia in a hotel there, money ran out, and it was during the height of COVID. So the only way, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a cell phone. I was probably the only person in America that didn't have a cell phone. But my way of communicating anyway was through my computer. But I had a desktop, and in order for me to access the desktop, I had to pay my rent. And my rent was past due, a couple of days past due. They shut it off like the first day. So I had no way. My son Peter is here tonight. I had to reach out to Peter to let him know that I was okay and I don't want him to worry. That was my major concern. I figured I'd figure it out. That whatever. I just didn't want him to worry about me. My whole reason for moving to Reno was really, hey man, it's in the speech. It wasn't intentional. It was just kind of slowly evolving of a disconnect with the kids, my kids. I have two kids, Peter and Taylor, his sister. And because I didn't have a phone, and Peter is not on social media and no Facebook, so my only communication was really through an email and or a Facebook DM. And, that was with Taylor, my daughter. So it was rough, man. So when I was forced to move out of the apartment, I didn't know where to go. And I ended up at Catholic Charities, and the guy kind of whisked me, and I wanted to use his phone. And he whisked me away, saying, man, cover up. He said, go over there. And he's pointing to VOA. And I had no idea what he's pointing to. But it basically was shooing me away. So I ended up walking up the street, and I asked somebody on the street, VOA, and I'm opening doors, and trying to open doors, everything's locked up, except the last one at the end, which is where Ted Jimenez was. And I walked up, and I had no idea who Ted was. He had no idea who I was. And I went up to the reception area and asked if I could use their phone to call my son. And the lady at the reception area was like, it was kind of an unusual request. Like, who doesn't have a phone, Me. She didn't say that, and I didn't say that. But that was implied by her expression. And in the conversation that I had with this lady, Ted his back was to the reception area because he was doing something on the fax machine or something, or a copy machine. And I guess he overheard the conversation, the inflection in my voice or whatever, the plea of just wanting to use a phone. And Ted basically dropped everything. And, anybody that works for VOA has got a caseload that's well above their head. So he dropped everything, man. He helped me out. He took me into his office. He let me use his phone. I was able to leave a message for my son. And then at that point, then Ted kind of put everything in order that I could breathe. And because I followed Ted's playbook, it allowed me to move into stage, and then I became then my babysitter became Devin and LaDonna. And then once they tired of me, now I'm at Sierra Manor. And so Heather's now got the dutiful responsibility of babysitting me. So I'm trying to be low maintenance and, trying to stay out of everybody's hair. But that's my story, basically. I mean, I just can't say enough about Ted, and I can't, honest to God, I can't say enough about Devin, nor LaDonna, because of their heart, and they really do care. And I haven't met everybody that works for VOA, but I've said it before, man, they all drink from the same water because they all care. And their heart is in the right place. And some people talk the talk, they don't walk the walk, okay? And these people, man, they talk the talk, but they walk the walk. And they don't really talk, they just walk it, okay? If you got your hand out, you need help, they're there to hold your hand, and they're going to hold it, and they're not going to let go. It's a vice grip. And, they're just amazing people. And, if I told my man over here, I said, my dad had a saying, and I'm gonna leave you with this because I might get booed off the stage if not already. My dad had a line. He used to be in pro sports, and there are certain organizations that were well run. There were other organizations in the NBA that were just not well run for whatever reason. And my dad was old school, way old school. And his line was, the fish either stinks or smells good from the head down. Okay? And guess what? The VOA fish smells good from the top, smells good at the bottom, good to eat. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for welcoming me up here. You might have heard little crinkles of chip bags being opened. That's my two little boys over there. They're struggling with the animal crackers, so I'm gonna apologize in advance. But I do have a speech prepared for you all. I'd like to welcome you all here. Thank you for being so kind to have me here and speak about the life-changing work that VOA does every day. My name is Debbie, and while I'm proud to be where I am, I have to acknowledge that no good news comes without the iceberg of hardship that accompanies it, like this microphone. It's a bit breathtaking to be up here because my voice feels heard, and it means a lot since I didn't have a lot of that growing up. In my childhood, I had many dreams and goals. Sometimes they were my own, other times they were dreams my parents had for me. In many ways, I'm grateful for my upbringing. However, the lack of emotional support means I dealt with many things alone. Minimal vulnerability meant I didn't speak up for myself boldly. I worked hard in school, and the ultimate goal was college. I created a picture in my mind of what my life would look like, but as we all know, life doesn't always go as planned. I started my journey with higher ed at University of Nevada, Reno in August of 2015. I decided to pursue speech pathology and felt very passionate about it. We live in a time where young students may struggle with finding their own voice. Coronavirus changed the way we communicate, and with that, there has been a higher prevalence of speech disorders. Since more children are facing speech and language delay, it's important that we have representation in the field. For some, confidence is a skill acquired over time. And sometimes that spark of confidence for young ones stems from modeled behaviors of people who look just like them. I enjoyed my classes as time went by, yet I still had trouble speaking up for myself. In 2018, during my fall semester of my junior year of college, I became pregnant with my son. I was shocked. It felt surreal and had many conflicting emotions. I struggled with perinatal depression, a type of depression that occurs during pregnancy, which led me to drop out. Dropping out created such an instability in my life. My partner and I couch surfed and asked relatives for support, but we were running out of options. We were both hopeless, both of us in our 20s trying to figure out how to be an adult while preparing to be parents. It was exhausting. We were days from losing our housing, and all of our belongings were packed in the car. Our tire had blown out, and my partner was changing it when I received the call from VOA that there was a room for us at the shelter. It was one of those incredible moments of relief. Getting that call felt like a light in our lives, while everything else felt so dark and chaotic. I'll never forget meeting the wonderful staff at VOA. Denise and Gary, longtime workers at the shelter, welcomed me with such warmth. I remember the paintings I saw at the front desk that made me more comfortable at the stay. I saw in the video that the family shelter was up there. I remember taking the elevator all the way to the top and seeing all the pictures, and it felt so warm. And still, the transition from college student to mother without the financial footing to prepare for a child was difficult. It felt hard to conceivably imagine what a future for my family would look like. I can't describe how I felt when I watched my firstborn hit his developmental milestones while living at a shelter. It hit me full force that my son's first footsteps on his own would be in a place that wasn't the stability of my own home. If there's one thing I'd want someone to know about homelessness, it's that it's not only defined as individuals without a home. What it truly means is that a person does not have access to an environment to experience some of life's most cherished moments. Think back to when you learned how to ride a bike, had your first kiss, or brought your newborn home. And imagine having all of those moments in a whirlwind of uncertainty, in survival mode, not knowing the next step. There are many facets of hidden homelessness, such as staying in a motel, weekly lodge, living out of a car, which means there's a whole world of silent battles being fought. There are plenty of untold stories similar to mine, and others might never get the fighting chance to live to tell their story. In the depths of my depression, in the shelter, I never thought I'd make it past the age of 22. In the midst of my feeling of uncertainty, VOA gave my family another gift. In March of 2020, they told us we'd be moving into our own apartment. I was over the moon. It didn't matter that there was nothing inside of that apartment. It was the excitement of physically having my own key. We took our time putting that key in that door and turning it, and there was so much joy in that moment. It felt like I could muster up the confidence to continue to do bigger things. I knew I could continue to push through and keep going because I had VOA and people like all of you in my corner cheering me on. I'd like to announce in a couple days, I will be walking across the University of Nevada, Reno quadrangle at graduation. I'm getting my BS in speech pathology. I'm the first in my family to finish college, and for that I thank my parents for believing that I could. I took my last final today, going a little off the script. I took my very last final today, and I remember just bursting out in tears and trying to figure out why I was feeling that way. And then it hit me. I had heard a quote a little earlier that we may be stuck in the future. We may think about what's next. You know, what's next for us? When are we having our next kid? When's retirement? You know, we all think of our next, but we get so caught up in that we may forget that we have already had a lot of things that we've already prayed for. And so I reflected on that, and a lot of the things that I prayed for 2 years ago, you know, a healthy family, a house over our heads, you know, a house full of love. And I have that, and I'm grateful for it. So, thank you. So, to go from unhoused to degree holder, that is a big thing. And that comes with a lot of prayers and a lot of dreams, and takes a lot of hard work to get there. It's been no easy feat juggling school, motherhood, and being the breadwinner at points of my life. In truth, I have had and have too much on my plate. There's a lot of animal crackers, you know, on there. But when you feel like you have too much on your plate, get more plates. I could not succeed without your generosity, the love from my community, and VOA's help in many facets of my life. Yes, I'm a soon-to-be college graduate, but more importantly, I'm a proud mama of 2 boys. My oldest son is starting preschool this year. He said, "Mommy, I'm gonna finish pre-K because Mommy finished." Words cannot begin to express the confidence I've gained while working with VOA, and to reflect on the tremendous growth I've experienced. I remember that quiet girl that first walked into the family shelter unable to fight for herself. I'd like to reassure her that God's timing worked out again. You know the saying, if you give a man a fish. Well, VOA didn't just give me a fish, they taught me how to fish. And those invaluable lessons will continue for a lifetime. And it's all thanks to the gratitude of the generous donors that have given to VOA, because it generally would not have been possible for me to escape the cycle of instability and poverty. I'm here because the community believes in me. A special shout out to Constance for her kindness and patience. She's over there. She deserves a round of applause. Yep. She manages our family's case and has become an understanding confidant throughout the process. My kids know her as a present fairy because of the presents they've gotten from VOA. Well, my partner and I started our journey young and confused. We have celebrated 5 years together and continue to grow. If we weathered the depths of homelessness, we can only imagine what our lives would be like as we continue upward. I have this drive, this relentless pursuit of knowledge, dedication, and hunger to succeed, to provide better opportunities for my kids. I can provide shelter from the storm for my kids because VOA provided that opportunity to me. Thank you all for listening to my story, and God bless you.
Thank you all for being here tonight. It's been an amazing evening, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Greg, Debbie, thank you for sharing your incredible stories with us. I know the courage and strength it takes to stand up here and be vulnerable because my wife and I got to share our story 16 years ago. My name is Nick Kimfill, and I'm the current board chair for Volunteers of America. And I'm here today because over 20 years ago, Volunteers of America changed my life. As I stand up here today, I'm reminded of the hardships that I've faced. But more importantly, I'm reminded of how much my life has changed. And I'm so grateful for people like all of you who helped make that change possible. You see, I was living on the street steep in my addiction when someone from VOA came and showed me a better way of life. Without them, I wouldn't be here today. And as I wrap up my time as board chair, I'm filled with a sense of awe at all we've accomplished together. We got through the hardships of COVID-19. I got to see new and exciting programs open, as well as experience the heartbreak of program closures. I've had the opportunity to represent VOA at various events, and I continue to be amazed at every staff member I encounter. They're remarkable. And as I've heard it said before, they truly are the secret sauce to VOA's success. My story is one of thousands touched by VOA, and these successes are made possible because each year, with the support of people like you, VOA helps over 3,700 individuals. That's the impact that you make throughout Northern California and Northern Nevada. With our support, VOA can continue reminding those experiencing homelessness that they matter too. I was one of those people, and it took someone from VOA to guide me without judgment and show me that I could live life that I could only have dreamed of. And you know what? They were right. Today, I'm a proud business owner, and I can give back and help in ways I can only have dreamed of years ago. I know that all of us want to continue helping VOA serve those who might be lost, alone, scared, and hurting. But helping people get back on their feet and providing them with adequate tools to remain independent takes time and resources. Together, we've managed to help VOA close its annual funding gap before, and I know we can do it again. This year, we're believing in big things, including raising $275,000 to keep individuals housed, employed, and continue providing services in a dignified way. Before I tell you how you can make a gift tonight, I want to quickly share about the Shelter from Storm Society, which I'm a proud member of. This is a group of donors that gives a minimum of $1,000 annually for 5 years. Okay, now it's time for you to join in. In the white envelopes on your table, you'll find a pledge form, which looks like the one on the screen. In addition, we've created a special page on VOA's website to make it easy for you to make a pledge. You'll notice that there are a few different options for you to choose from. The red button, also the red on your pledge form, is for those of you who become new Shelter from Storm Society members. And I think I see some new society members out there already. As I mentioned earlier, this is a minimum commitment of $1,000 annually for 5 years. The blue button is for current society members, and we thank you so much for providing the sustaining support that VOA relies upon annually. The green button is for those of you who want to do it your way, and we do respect and encourage that. Please choose or create a gift amount that's right for you by clicking on the green button or filling out the green section on their pledge form. And here's the impact you'll make. $1,000 a year for 5 years will provide access to case management and housing specialists to more people like Greg. $5,000 annually will help 5 seniors escape abuse, heal from trauma, and be safely housed. $10,000 a year for 5 years will provide shelter, life skills, counseling, and employment for 40 individuals struggling with homelessness. But please don't let me limit you. If you want to do more, we can certainly accommodate you. If you haven't yet, grab one of the envelopes on your table, fill out a pledge form, or you can scan the QR code on the envelope that will lead you to our website. You can also use the phone number that's on the screen and text HOPE and you'll receive a link to give. Any gift you make today will help meet the ever-increasing demand for essential services. And we know there's so many worthy causes out there, so many needs, and we thank you for entrusting us with your generosity. I'll give you a few minutes to fill out the forms, and then I'll get back together with you. Thank you again for being here with us this evening, and please know, and I can say firsthand, that your kindness is changing lives at VOA every day. The kindness of individuals like you changed my life, and changed my wife's life, and so many others. And please remember that no gift is too small. Have a great evening, and please remember to drive home safely.